what's going on, everybody? It's Friday, just got out of work, and not too terribly cold out today, so I figure let's go out and take the bike for a quick little rip. Fortunately, this time of year, it's kind of hit or miss with the weather you're going to get. You're either going to get really nice days in the 50s and 60s, or days like this where it's overcast, cloudy, and maybe 45 degrees, maybe 46 or 48, which I've ridden in colder, but would definitely prefer those 50 or 60 degree days. I think maybe we'll take a ride up past Candlewood Lake today. I haven't been up that way in a while. That was one of my favorite quick after work rides. Back when I had my Triumph, I used to get out of work on a weekday night and come home, jump on the bike, go for a nice little loop. I think that's what we'll do today, is we'll take a ride up by the lake. So I realized the other day, or the other video, when I was talking about my new handlebar risers, I failed to mention that the fact that I am not running the factory seat on this bike, and that's important when you're selecting your handlebars, because as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, I have a Saddleman seat on this bike, and Saddlemans have a tendency to raise you up higher in the seat, but also push you closer to your handlebars. And I couldn't tell you how many people I knew that did handlebars, got comfortable with the height of their handlebars, then bought a seat and found that now, you know, their handlebars aren't the right height anymore. And my seat was one of the very first things I replaced on this bike, because I knew that I was going to be taking my wife on the back with me, and it came with a solo seat. So, like I said, that was one of the first things to go. And even just replacing the seat, I would notice, you know, this is stock, everything stock, risers, bars. I noticed how much further forward, I mean, not a radical difference, but enough that I was able to notice it. And like I said, it also raised you up in the seat, so it increases your seat height. Again, not a radical amount, but enough of a difference to where you could definitely notice it. So, having said that, again, these are 8-inch straight risers. If you're running a different seat, like if you have your stock seat, keep that in mind, because again, I'm 5'8" with a 30-inch inseam, And these bars, the setup I'm running right now, 8-inch risers and stock bars, is perfect. Is it going to be a huge difference if you have a stock seat or a different seat? I mean, like I said, I knew my brother, perfect for instance. You know, he's got a 2019 Road Glide Special, and I think he did the, what are they, 12 or 14-inch Paul Yaff meat hook bars on his bike. And he did the bars while he still had his stock seat, and, you know, he got the bike back with the bars. It was perfect. Then he bought a Lucky Dave's seat, and he tried the bike with the new seat, and he put his stock seat back on right away because the Lucky Dave seat pushed him up forward, and, you know, it raised the seat height, and now his bars didn't feel right anymore. So I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure what he ever ended up doing with that seat, if he kept it or sold it. But that's something, that's a really important thing that I definitely wanted to mention about these, this setup that I'm running now, is the seat, because that does play into your overall seating position and, you know, your geometry on the bike. You know, as far as the Saddleman seat is concerned, you know, they have people either love them or they hate them. One thing that I hear a lot is people complaining about how hard they are. And I'm not saying that it's not stiff, because it is. Out of the box, it's a very firm seat. But I've got probably, I'd say, over 1,000 miles in this seat. And the good thing about it being so firm out of the box is that over time, that gel that it's made out of, that memory foam, it starts to conform to your body. It starts to break in over time. And, you know, I've heard different things. I've heard, oh, it's 500-mile break-in period. I've heard it's 1,000-mile break-in period. I've even heard, you know, 5,000-mile break-in period. And right now, the way it sits after just over 1,000 miles, it's like way comfortable. I'm very happy with this seat. I wouldn't change it at all. You know, on hard pulls, it definitely keeps you planted. You're not sliding off the back of the seat or anything like that, which is important. It definitely keeps you in the right position. Other thing I really like about it is that it's got nice lower back support, which, you know, you could lean back a little bit if you want to. You could, you know, sit upright. And Sunday, I'm trying to think, Sunday when we went on that group ride, that was probably, maybe I've been in the saddle for longer than that, but I've been on some pretty long trips in this seat, and I'm not, you know, when I'm getting off the bike at the end of the day, I'm not uncomfortable at all or stiff or sore. To be perfectly honest with you guys, I never really did any long trips with the stock seat, so I couldn't really tell you one way or the other if it was really comfortable or really uncomfortable, because, like I said, I didn't really put a lot of miles on it. I'll say one critique, one of the things that I found about this bike that I'm definitely going to be changing here pretty soon is the position of the rear brake pedal. It definitely got better when I changed the seat, because again, it pushed me, you know, forward a little bit more and up higher. But man, in the stock position, the stock seat, I should say, I had all to do to use the rear brake, just because that brake pedal is such a, you know, an inconvenient position that you can hardly get any pressure on it. Not that I use my rear brake a lot. I definitely tend to use my front brakes more. But you do use your rear brake, like, you know, for trail braking and things like that. And now with the stock seat, or the saddleman seat, I should say, it's definitely gotten better, but I might consider either seeing how much I could adjust it the way it is, or getting an aftermarket rear brake linkage. I guess I just saw somebody posted on one of the groups I belong to. FXR division, I guess, makes a nice rear brake linkage that's adjustable, so I might have to look into that. And of course, once again, I left the house without putting my pinlock visor in this helmet. And one thing I'm quickly learning about these shoey helmets is you definitely need that pinlock insert, otherwise these face shields fog up to no end. That's why I keep having to open my visor up, let it vent out. Gotta put myself like a big ass sticky note on my computer or something. Put pinlock in helmet. Big black letters or big bold letters. Thought about putting some base layers on before I left. Right before I left, I said, oh, I'll be okay without them. Now I'm kind of wishing I put them on. It's getting a little chilly. It's been a minute since I've been up here. I almost missed my turn. That's just a nice little loop. Doesn't take terribly long. You go out and back. All in all, we didn't really have a terrible winter at all. It was cold, but we never did get any substantial amount of snow. I think altogether, if we got maybe 5 inches altogether, and I doubt we even got that much. I would venture to say it was more like 4. Which is very unusual for these parts, because normally we do tend to get quite a bit of snow up here. Not okay, now the question is, which way do I go? Do I go left or do I go, I think we go right, so we're gonna go right. But yeah, normally we get a pretty fair amount of snow, definitely more than what we had this year, but that tells me one of two things. Either A, we're going to get a lot of snow, or a lot of rain this summer, or B, we're going to get creamed next winter with snow, which we're due for a really snowy winter up here. We really haven't had a serious heavy or snow-filled winter in quite some time. I want to say, gotta be going back 10 years now. We had a winter where it snowed, like, measurable amounts of snow. Like, I'm talking over 4 inches once a week. So once a week, we were getting hammered, just snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm, and it never warmed up. Like, most winters we get snow, and then the following day it'll warm up enough that the majority of it will just melt. Not this year. We would get a heavy snowstorm, then the temperature would tank, so it would turn into like ice and like would never melt. And I remember that was the year that the local towns in the state were literally running out of places to put the snow, because they would push it and push it and push it off the road, and you could only pile it up so high. So it got to the point where they're driving around with bucket loaders, scooping the snow into the back of dump trucks, and then taking it, wherever, abandoned lot, or some place that they didn't care about dumping mounds and mounds of snow. I remember you used to see piles of snow like 3 stories high, 4 stories high. And then the other bad thing was, because the snow would never melt, it accumulated up on people's roofs, and a lot of people, I know my mom had a problem with her house where the ice dams just accumulated above the gutter, so the rain and snow melting wouldn't drain properly, and it ended up creeping underneath the shingles and caused a lot of water damage in the house. That happened to a lot of people. So that was the year everybody's homeowner's insurance went up. Everybody filed claims to their homeowner's insurance to fix it. But we haven't had a winter like that, like I said, 10 years. Just coming around this corner here, you're going to see Candlewood Lake right here in front of us. This is a man-made lake. Big tourist attraction for people here in Connecticut. A lot of people from New York come over. This lake gets busy in the summertime, man. You look out on that lake, there's freaking so many boats out there. Speaking of boats, here comes one on a trailer coming right now. There's a couple marinas on this road. I don't think we passed it already, but there's actually a really good bar and restaurant on this road called Down the Hatch. They're only open seasonally there. I want to say they open in April or May, and they close in September. Yeah, it's September, because it's right around the time of the CT United ride. All the years I lived up here, I only been there once, but not because I haven't wanted to come up here. It's just, usually it's so packed you can't even get a seat. You gotta, get there early, like lunchtime or earlier, just to hopefully get a seat, because it packs up. have to invest in some cold weather gloves, because these leather ones, they're just, temperatures like this, they just don't cut it. I mean, my fingertips are starting to get a little chilly. Also, it doesn't help, the wind is kind of whipping today too, so that definitely lowers the or what is it, the wind chill. So even though the air temp is like 45, I think right now, with the wind chill, especially being on this, probably feels more like 25. Yeah, there's that restaurant I was talking about down the hatch. Like I said, it was summertime, man, that parking lot is packed, because not only do you got people driving their cars and motorcycles there, but they got a dock on a lake, so you got people docking up on boats in a lake, and like I said, it gets packed. Sunday is a whole hell of a lot further than this little loop, and nothing worse than being cold on a bike. I'm not gonna try to squeeze by. It's a little too tight, and there's all kind of dirt and sand and shit on the side of the road. I'd rather just wait. Trying to put my hand down by the engine block, see if I can get my hands to thaw out any. That's one trick I have used in the past that actually does work, but of course you guys are getting all kind of wind noise now because my visor's up and it's windy as all get out. Yeah, it's you know, I think that's very first thing I'm going to do when I get home is put the pinlock anti-fog visor in this thing, because man, it's ridiculous how much this helmet's fogging up right now. And the chin vent doesn't seem to be doing hardly anything. Just because if I can keep air moving through this helmet, it shouldn't fog up so bad. wasn't a smart move. I should have just stayed where the hell I was going. Damn it. At least it's moving. At least it's not bumper to bumper stopped. It could always be worse. Let's slip right in front of this truck here. To do this commute every day, driving home from New York back into Connecticut, and shit, if you think this is bad, try coming home from like Dutchess County or, you know, Putnam County, wherever, and you know, it's smooth sailing traffic all the way through New York, no problem. But as soon as you get anywhere remotely close to that Connecticut border, you go from smooth sailing, easy going, no problem, to like screeching halt traffic jam. It's the most soul-crushing thing, because you've already driven, you know, figure hour and a half. All you want to do is get home, and then you have to sit in traffic for another hour. It's like, no, I was so close. I'll say this, the only thing I miss about my Triumph was the fact that it was liquid cooled, because granted, you still got to be careful sitting in traffic, because I mean, even though it's liquid cooled, you're not moving air over that radiator coil, so it could still overheat. But I've been in a few traffic jams with this thing where it's just, you know, not moving any air across that engine, and not gonna lie, it got a little scary there a couple times. I mean, they do have, I think if I just twist the throttle forward, it'll activate, I don't know what it's called, but it basically, what happens is at an idle, it'll stop the rear cylinder. It'll, you know, basically cut the ignition coil off, so that piston's still moving. It's just not firing. So instead of, you know, both pistons firing, you only have the front one, which I guess does help keep the engine cool if you're sitting in traffic on a really hot day. I mean, today I'm not super concerned about it, because again, it's 45 degrees out, but if it was any warmer and I was sitting in traffic for any length of time, I'd definitely be turning that feature on.